Hello and welcome. I'm Michael Levitt, president of the American Society for Jewish Music. First, for its co-sponsorship in making this event possible, I want to thank the Leo Baeck Institute, which is devoted to the history of German-speaking Jews and whose collection contains many documents and letters and other interesting material related to the composers featured on tonight's program. Also, I want to thank the Evo Institute for Jewish Research, our partner here at the Center for Jewish History, for its ongoing support. Last week, Karyn Levitt and her trio presented a wonderful Hans Eisler cabaret, which I know many of you attended. And we are fortunate to have her back tonight with the distinguished pianist Jed Distler for On Hollywood and Weimar, Songs from the Golden Age of Film. Both these cabarets are part of Carnegie Hall's 23-24 season series, Fall of the Weimar Republic, Dancing on the Precipice. As you may already know, many of Hollywood's greatest film scores were written by émigré and exiled composers who fled Nazi Europe and eventually found their way to Southern California. In advance of tonight's performance, there are some important insights about these and other composers in exile, written about extensively in Michael Haas's new and fascinating book, Music of Exile, which I highly recommend. Namely, for German-speaking Jewish composers and performers who fled the Nazis, they not only lost their homeland, but they lost their very identities. They were told not only were they not wanted, but significantly that they had never actually belonged. With their immigration, they had to adapt and accommodate new and complex situations and the bewilderment of learning strange new languages. This program highlights different aspects and experiences of exile, and we encounter the same composer in new, different chapters. As they created new lives for themselves, our American culture was enriched in so many important ways. One final note. I'm going to silence my cell phone right now, and I hope you will join me in silencing yours. Thank you.
master of Germany have become so had he been known to the world as Adolf Schicklgruber. Heil Schicklgruber doesn't have quite the same ring, does it? Although this lyric conflates two generations, William Shirer poses this question in his book, The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich. Quote, "There are many weird twists of fate in his strange life, but none more odd than this one, that his father, Alois, changed the family last name from Schicklgruber, his mother's maiden name as she had given birth to her son Alois out of wedlock, to his father's last name, Hitler."
His one obsession was to practice a profession, and he dabbled with the palette and the paint. But the art he couldn't master, so he went from paint to plaster, and today he calls himself a plaster saint. Is he good or evil fairy? All his pals have now grown wary. That is those of them who didn't rate the purge. And the scent will ever linger, how he gave his friends the finger just to gratify and culminate and urge. Schicklgruber, once the dews and the rose, where you'll end up in the wind-up. Schicklgruber, heaven knows, ever ruthless, ever truthless, when the judgment day's due, repercussions from the Russians. Schicklgruber, say you're through. Every village, like a pillage, in revenge will turn on you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to On Hollywood and Weimar, songs of European composers from the golden age of film. Kurt Weill, with lyricist Howard Dietz, composed Schicklgruber in 1942 as part of America's war effort against Germany. You could ask, what's a nice girl like me doing in a show like this, which opens with a reminder of the most horrific period in history? My answer would be that I've been led here on a journey from all my work with the late, great Eric Bentley on the songs of one of the composers in our show tonight, Hans Eisler. It was a natural evolution for me to begin to explore the other European composers who worked out in Hollywood in the 1930s and 40s, and whose reasons for being there were similar. I have found each of the composers in our program tonight to be not only brilliant artists, but fascinating and intriguing personalities in their own right. Weimar Berlin was a hotbed of politically, socially, and sexually outspoken creative work. One composer of Weimar's heyday was all-around man of the theater Friedrich Hollander, who wrote satirical songs like Raus mit den Männern aus dem Reichstag or Chuck Out the Men for edgy cabaret artists like Claire Waldorf, who performed at his Tingle Tangle Theater in Berlin. Raus mit den Männern aus dem Reichstag und
raus mit den Männern aus dem Herrenhaus. Wir machen draus ein Frauenhaus. Raus mit den Männern aus dem Dasein und raus mit den Männern aus dem Hiersein und raus mit den Männern aus dem Dortsein. Sie müssten längst schon fort sein. Ja, raus mit den Männern aus dem Bau und rein in die Dinge mit der Frau. Chuck all the men out of the Reichstag and chuck all the men out of the courthouse. Men are the problem with humanity. They're blinded by their vanity. Women have passively embraced them when we could have easily outpaced them. Yes, we should have long ago replaced them, or better yet, erased them. If we haven't made our feelings clear, we women have had it up to here. The men get their pick of professions. They're policemen or scholars or clerks. They get rich and acquire possessions, like us wives who keep house for these jerks. They're ruining the country as we mop up the floor. They're flushing this whole nation down the drain. Sisters, stand together. Let's show these men the door before they drive us totally insane. The 1930s ushered in Hitler's rise to power, and composers like Hollander, who were Jewish and or communist, were banned, and their works branded as entartete Kunst, so-called degenerate art. Musical geniuses, composers, conductors, concert pianists fled for their lives from Germany, Austria, Hungary, Poland, the Ukraine, and even Italy for America. Friedrich Hollander is most famous to us for the film songs he wrote for Marlene Dietrich. A Windfall of Musicians, Hitler's Émigrés and Exiles in Southern California, Dorothy Lamb Crawford writes that Hollander attempted in Hollywood to recreate the world of cabaret in which he had been so prolific as a composer, writer, director, and actor in Europe. He remodeled a garage on Santa Monica Boulevard into a theater and put up a large sign, Frederick Hollander's Tingle Tangle Theater. Along with many other celebrities, Charlie Chaplin came to the opening of the Tingle Tangle Theater in Hollywood and wrote in Hollander's guest book that he had never laughed so much before. But the Tingle Tangle operation failed a few months later when the cash box was stolen. Franz Waxman, son of composer, a
actually John Waxman, sorry, son of composer Franz Waxman, said that Hollander's big mistake was that he went to the wrong place. If he had come to New York to write for Broadway, he would have been huge. He could have been in the league of Cole Porter. In the 1930s and 40s, numerous European artists gravitated to the thriving film industry where they found not only employment but sanctuary. Hans Eisler worked with Bertolt Brecht on Hollywood films like Hangmen Also Die, keeping company with the likes of Thomas Mann, Otto Klemperer, Peter Lorre, Max Reinhardt, Theodor Adorno. With all the Austro-German refugee artists descending on Los Angeles, Hollywood came to be known as Weimar on the Pacific. Hit it, Jed.
Verrückte und verzückte Hollywood. Der Name eines Eismanns und Zeitungsjungen liegt allen auf den Zungen, steht er erst vor der Kamera. Das dümmste Mädchen aus dem kleinsten Städtchen, kompromittiert wird, katapultiert zum Superstar. Hurra für Hollywood, wo du der Beste bist, selbst wenn du gut. Irgendjemand schaut Shirley Temple bis zu Amy Sample, ist gleich glänzend in Kenwood. Geh hin und such dein Glück, du kommst nie mehr zurück. Hurra für Hollywood!
Here's a jazz standard, famously recorded by Miles Davis, Eric Dolphy, and many great singers. It was composed in 1947 by Bronislaw Kaper from Poland for an epic MGM film on Green Dolphin Street.
It seems like a dream, yet I know it happened. A man, a maid, a kiss, and then goodbye. Romance was the theme, and we were the players. Memories live in my heart when I recall the love I found on. I could kiss the ground on Green Dolphin Street. When I recall the love I found on, I could kiss the ground on Green Dolphin Street.
Now, we have all heard the myth that the Jews went like lambs to the slaughter during the Holocaust. So it may be surprising to discover that in the earliest days of the Nazi horror, at least one major artist gave as good as he got. Bronny, as he was nicknamed, was not only a brilliant composer, but a champion fencer and a very good boxer. In fact, his fighting skills came in handy when he and his wife were attacked on a main street in Berlin. He said in an interview, this was one of the earliest incidents that happened in Berlin when a mob started attacking people on the street, people who either were Jewish or looked Jewish. I was punching. They were hitting me. I was hitting them. There were about 200 of them. I don't say I can beat 200 people, but I can survive. I was used to taking punches on the chin. I was used to falling down, so the shock wasn't there. In Berlin, the young Bronislaw Kaper met another young composer, Walter Jurmann from Vienna, who had a gift for writing songs that sang themselves, and they started working together as a team. In 1935, Louis B. Mayer, a Russian immigrant in Hollywood, offered them a 7-year contract with MGM. Here's their song for the 1935 Marx Brothers film, A Night at the Opera.
There's an old Italian phrase. It's an old Italian craze. Every little bambino learns it the very first day. Every sweet signorina says it the very same way. These funny little words don't really mean a thing. It's just a phrase that nowadays Italians love to sing. It's a wonderful word, tra-la-la-la. When anyone asks you how you are, it's proper to say, così, cosa, così, cosa. If a lady should ask you if you care, you don't have to start a love affair. Say, così, cosa. Does it mean yes? No. Does it mean no? Well, yes and no. Così, cosa. Get together and sing tra-la-la-la. It's easy this way, so try today and learn to say così, cosa. Così, cosa.
song for the 1936 film San Francisco, starring Jeanette MacDonald, Kapper and Jurman secured their places in film music history. Austrians Erich Korngold and Max Steiner are together known as the founders of film music. As a teenager, Steiner got his start studying composition with Gustav Mahler and worked as a conductor in the theaters of Austria, Germany, and England, and then came to New York, where for 15 years he conducted or music directed 17 Broadway shows, including Lady Be Good and George White's Scandals of 1922. But Steiner found his real place in Hollywood composing film scores. Betty Davis said, "Max Steiner understood more about drama than any of us." His iconic theme song for Gone with the Wind is perhaps the music for which he will always be remembered. Here is a medley of some of his most famous film music.
The night is warm, my heart is young, the moon is in the blue. The stage is set for me to fall in love with you. The score for the movie Spellbound won for Hungarian composer Miklos Rozsa his first Oscar. The producers had demanded a unique sound, and Rozsa settled on a new instrument. My heart has the strangest feeling whenever we're alone. You weave a spell and you weave it well. I have no will of my own. You're holding me spellbound. I am yours, heart and soul. What can it be, this magic power that you control? I always feel spellbound every time you are near. My senses reel, I melt completely when you appear. You thrill me so much, it's like the touch of April when winter is through. It wasn't so bad till I kissed you. Now I can't resist you. I know that I'll stay spellbound. Love will keep me that way. Oh, how I pray
Roja was next hired to score the film The Lost Weekend. Spellbound's producer, David O. Selznick, became territorial over Roja's use of the theremin in another producer's picture. The composer wrote in his autobiography, "I received a frantic telephone call from his secretary asking me if it were true that I had used the theremin in my new picture as well. Apparently, Selznick considered he had a monopoly on the instrument. I flew into a rage and told the lady yes, I had used not only the theremin, but the piccolo, the trumpet, the triangle, and the violin. Goodbye." Several years before Spellbound, Roja was in Bayreuth. It was the summer of 1934 to attend a Wagner opera. The composer shuddered to realize that seated just one table away from him in this popular restaurant in the town where he was dining was the personification of evil itself, Hitler. He was surrounded by high-ranking officers, recalled Roja. I looked at him and saw the ruthless eyes of a murderer. We've been focused on the second wave of immigrant European composers who came to this country fleeing the specter of Hitler and an ever more Nazified Europe. Yet a generation before, the first wave of immigrant European composers came to these shores seeking opportunities, among them a 12-year-old Russian boy. This Russian immigrant gave this country one of its most cherished songs, God Bless America. Irving Berlin's Alexander's Ragtime Band made it all the way back to Russia, where a young composer named Dmitri Tiomkin heard its clarion call. Tiomkin loved jazz. It lured him to Berlin, Paris, and London, but it wasn't until he got to Hollywood that he found his true place writing film scores. Tiomkin worked with some of the greatest directors of the time, including Frank Capra, on amazing films like It's a Wonderful Life, You Can't Take It With You, Lost Horizon, and Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Yet he was best known for scoring westerns.
Keep rolling, 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 though the streams are swollen. Keep them doggies rolling, right through rain and wind and weather, hell bent for leather, wishing my guy was by my side. All the things I'm missing, good victuals, love and kissing, are waiting at the end of my ride.
Move 'em on.
Head 'em up,
Hit 'em up.
move 'em on,
Move 'em on.
head 'em up, rawhide.
Put 'em out.
Ride 'em in,
Ride 'em in.
let 'em out.
Let 'em out.
Ride 'em in, rawhide. Keep moving, 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 though they're disapproving. Keep them doggies moving, rawhide. Don't try to understand them, just rope 'em, throw and brand 'em. Soon we'll be living high and wide. My heart's calculating, my true love will be waiting at the end of my ride.
Move 'em on.
Head 'em up,
Hit 'em up.
move 'em on,
Move 'em out.
head 'em up, rawhide.
Cut 'em out.
Ride 'em in,
Ride 'em in.
let 'em out.
Russian, could so convincingly compose music to American cowboy films. Dimmy, as he was nicknamed, responded that the Great Plains were like the steppes of the Ukraine, nothing but a flat expanse of earth stretching to the horizon. A Russian gazes on the Great Plains with a sense of familiarity. Tiomkin had a shrewd way of getting his musical requirements met by producers, such as when he knew he'd need a larger orchestra, which of course would be more expensive. He would begin with the self-deprecating phrase, "Please don't hate me." Tiomkin was fond of quoting producer Sam Goldwyn for his inimitable turns of phrase, so-called Goldwynisms, like, "include me out." A verbal agreement is not worth the paper it's printed on. Thank you. And in 2 words, sensational. Now let me tell you about Franz Waxman. He was a German composer who got his lucky break when he was first hired for the Tingle Tangle Theater to orchestrate Friedrich Hollander's score for The Blue Angel. In this next piece by Franz Waxman, the central musical motif is first heard coming from a far-off piano in the apartment of a neighbor who just happens to be a composer. This haunting melody repeats throughout the film in the manner of a Wagnerian leitmotif for the high society character of Lisa, played by Grace Kelly. Here's Franz Waxman's theme song for Rear Window. Let's take a moment to put ourselves in the shoes of these immigrant composers. Here they are, strangers in a strange land, many of them having escaped Nazi Europe to this sunny paradise of palm trees with the Pacific Palisades overlooking the coast. Austro-German composer Hans Eisler had much to say about being an émigré artist in exile in Los Angeles, which he expressed musically in the Hollywood Songbook. In Die Landschaft des Exils, or The Country of Exiles by Bertolt Brecht, Eisler's music is evocative of the swelling seas experienced by the poet during his ocean voyage to Los Angeles.
Im Tagenzeug Feier der Matronen in den Gassen des gezeichneten Manila saucht der Flüchtling mit Freude. Und die Öltümme und die duftenden Gärten von Los Angeles und die abendlichen Schluchten Kaliforniens lesen den Boden des Unglücks nicht kalt.
One hallmark of an Eisler composition is concision. In fact, the next two songs are so succinct that we're going to perform them twice, in the original German and then in English version by Eric Bentley. First we have To the Little Radio with words by Brecht, followed by Red Clouds with words by Eichendorff.
Oh, little box I carried in my flight, so as not to break the radio tubes inside me. From house to boat, from boat to train, held tight, so that my enemies could still address me. Right where I slept, and much to my dismay, last thing each night and first thing every day, about their victories, defeats for me. Oh, please do not fall silent suddenly.
That was the English version. And here's the German version.
Du kleiner Kasten, den ich flüchtend trug, dass meine Lampen mir auch nicht zerbrechen, besorgt vom Haus zum Schiff, vom Schiff zum Zug, dass meine Feinde weiter zu mir sprechen. An meinem Lager und zu meiner Pein, der letzten Nachts, der ersten in der Früh, von ihren Siegen und von meiner Mühe. Versprich mir nicht auf einmal stumm zu sein. Aus der Heimat hinter den Blitzen rot, da kommen die Wolken her. Aber Vater und Mutter sind lange tot, es kennt mich dort niemand mehr. Es kennt mich dort niemand mehr. From my country with thunder and lightning red, the clouds come rolling by.
there was trouble in paradise. In 1947, Hans Eisler was brought before the House Un-American Activities Committee on charges of being a communist ringleader in Hollywood. He had the dubious privilege of being the first Hollywood artist to be blacklisted. And unfortunately, if we remember Hans Eisler at all, we remember him for his expulsion from America. Before boarding his flight to Prague, Eisler read this statement: "I leave this country not without bitterness and infuriation. I could well understand it when in 1933 the Hitler bandits put a price on my head and drove me out. They were the evil of the period. I was proud at being driven out, but I feel heartbroken over being driven out of this beautiful country in this ridiculous way. I take with me the image of the real American people whom I love." This town has taught me something. Paradise and hell can be the same town for those who have nothing. Paradise is hell. Diese Stadt hat mich belehrt. Paradies und Hölle können eine Stadt sein für die Mittellosen. Ist das Paradies die Hölle? Diese Stadt hat mich belehrt was translated into English by Eric Bentley, who was my mentor in the songs of Hans Eisler. There now follows a section in our program which my late beloved music producer Glenn Roven chose to call Songs of Remembrance. We return to our opening composer, who spent a little time out in Los Angeles, but who realized that Hollywood was not the right place for him. Kurt Weill's vision was to forge a uniquely American form of opera on Broadway, and he worked with some of the greatest lyricists of the day, from Ira Gershwin to Langston Hughes. In 1935, this son of a cantor was commissioned by the head of the American Zionist organization, Meyer Weisgall, to work with writer Franz Werfel on an epic musical work called The Eternal Road, about the Jewish people's age-old yearning for a homeland. Here is the Song of Ruth. Nay, where thou goest, will I go also, and I shall dwell wherever thou abidest. an excerpt from the English suite by Italian-born composer Mario Castelnuovo Tedesco. Please welcome my amazing collaborative pianist, Jed Distler. In The Song of Wandering, Castelnuovo Tedesco used the words of an 11th century Sephardic poet to give expression to his situation as an Italian Jew living in exile in Los Angeles. In film scoring, Teddy, as he was nicknamed, was rarely credited for his contributions, yet he became very well known for writing huge amounts of repertoire for classical guitar, for writing large-scale Jewish-themed oratorios, for teaching the next generation of Hollywood film composers like Henry Mancini, Andre Previn, and John Williams, and even for composing music to the lyrics in Shakespeare's plays like this one.
Day.
turning now to Bronnie Copper. Here's the title song for the film Invitation. Like Franz Waxman's theme song, Lisa, Invitation epitomizes that uniquely marvelous sound of Hollywood films. Part European sophistication, part film noir, part jazz. You and your smile hold a strange invitation. Somehow it seems we've shared our dreams, but where? Time after time, in a room full of strangers, out of the blue, suddenly you are there. Wherever I go, you're the glow of temptation, glancing my way in the gray of the dawn. And always your eyes smile that strange invitation. Then you are gone. Where, oh, where have you gone? How long must I stay in a world of illusion? Be where you are, so near yet so far apart. Hoping you'll say, with a warm invitation, where have you been? Darling, come into my heart. Thank you to Michael Levitt, President of the American Society for Jewish Music, and for David Brown from the Leo Baeck Institute, both for co-sponsoring this concert. Thank you, our amazing audience, for joining us on this journey to the intersection of Hollywood and Weimar. And if you permit me a personal note, I would like to thank the extraordinary composers who provided the immortal music for this evening's program. They have each found, in a profound way, a place in my heart. Finally, here's the story of how a single song saved an entire film. It was Dmitri Tiomkin's insight to write a theme song that would reveal the inner struggle of the marshal of a small western town on his wedding day. In the test screening, the film was deemed a flop. But Dimi Tiomkin, wanting to salvage his song, asked the studio for the rights, surely prefacing his request with, "Please don't hate me." And the studio acquiesced. Radio stations started playing the Tex Ritter recording with words by Ned Washington, and the song became a hit single. The film was eventually released without fanfare, but the song sold the movie, and the movie went on to win 2 Academy Awards for Best Score by Tiomkin and Best Song by Tiomkin and Washington. And so, in closing, Here's one I think we all know. Do not forsake me, oh my darling. That's right, from High Noon.
Do not forsake me, oh my darling, on this our wedding day. Do not forsake me, oh my darling. Wait long. I do not know what fate awaits me. I only know I must be brave, and I must face a man who hates me, or lie a coward, a craven coward, or lie a coward in my grave. Oh, to be torn twixt love and duty, supposing I lose my fair beauty. Look at that big hand move along here in high noon. He made a vow while in state's prison, vowed it would be my life or his. And I'm not afraid of death, but oh, what will I do if you leave me? Do not forsake me, oh my darling. You made that promise as a bride. Do not forsake me, oh my darling. Although you're grieving, don't think of leaving, because I need you by my side. Wait long, wait long, wait long, wait long.
Our concert would not be complete without a song by the great Viennese composer Erich Korngold, the other founder of film music, about whom Giacomo Puccini said he has so much talent that he could easily give us half and he would still have enough left over for himself. And so, to thank you all again for coming out tonight, here is my parting wish for you.
Ich wünsche dir Glück, ich bringe die Sonne in meinem Blick, ich fühle dein Herz in meiner Brust, es fühlt sich mehr als heiterlos. Es fühlt time.